Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Success Illustrated. I am Spence Iverson. This is my partner,
Mark Sterling.
Guys, we're super excited on today. And if this is your first time, or maybe you haven't been to the Success Illustrated podcast, understand what we love to do is to identify individuals who are the embodiment of success. Again, you're going to hear already in many other podcasts about the success stories. You're going to hear about the end game. The fancy cars, Mark. You're going to hear about the big houses. You're going to hear about the lifestyle. What we want to illustrate is the journey, because to us, that is what resonates with more people. And we think that in learning about the journey of successful people and the struggles that they went through in building their own business empires, you're able to learn more. You're able to retain more. Ultimately, you're able to relate more. And Mark, I had the privilege of playing in a golf tournament maybe about a month ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago. A friend of mine said, hey, look, I know some brothers, man, they have a really worthwhile cause. And everyone in my circle, we're calls, we're about movements. And what can we do bigger and better and more importantly than just making money? What's the greater impact that we can have? And he said, man, look, these guys, they have their own line of healthcare products. And I think it'd be great if we went and supported this tournament. Now, I hadn't met these gentlemen yet, but I knew my friend Raheem. Shout out to Raheem. Raheem's a great golfer. And Raheem said, man, look, this is a chance for us to support, particularly other Black-owned businesses. I said, man, I'm in. So we got another friend of ours, Carlton Scott. Shout out to Carlton. And we all play on the same amateur golf tour. And we said, man, look, if nothing else, we're going to win this tournament. But when we got there, first of all, it was so organized. Mark, had an amazing staff. They had on their uniforms. It was at an amazing venue, Windermere Golf Club. And I already felt great because I love to see people do things in the spirit, of excellence. And this was already setting the tone for that. And so when I found out more afterwards about their story and about how they give back, I said, man, I could not wait to meet them personally so I could invite them to the Success Illustrated podcast. So it's a pleasure, to introduce Jason Hawkins, Jaret Patterson. These are the founders of Respected Roots. Gentlemen, welcome to Success Illustrated.
That is an awesome introduction, man. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hire you, brother. Got on the road with us in the future, But thank you for having us, man. You and Mark both.
Awesome. It's going to be a great conversation. We hope that if you're listening, please get out pen and paper, because these gentlemen are going to be dropping some major nuggets. They're ultra successful. They have a unique brand. They have a unique story. We're going to tell you all about it right now on Success Illustrated. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. Again, we're going to get to Respected Roots. We're going to get to these wonderful products that they have, and we're going to share with you how you can get in contact with them, how you go to their website, how you can patronize it. We're going to get into all of that, but let's go back to the beginning, because the final product that you see here today, that's not how it started. So let's go back early on in the journey. Let's start talking about a little bit about the background. Maybe educationally, where you're from, and how ultimately everything grew to where it is today. So let's start at the very beginning of the journey.
Sure. Let me swing it this way. Again, thank you so much for having us. My name is Jason Hawkins, one half of Respected Roots. I'm originally from Milan, Tennessee. Right, it's from West Tennessee. I'm a military kid. I'm a serviceman. I joined the service when I was 18 years old because I actually didn't know what I wanted to do when I came out of high school. I'm an athlete. I played sports, baseball being my favorite sport, being a switch hitter.
Oh, okay.
So we'll talk about that later. Right. And so I'm from a small community, man, so it wasn't really many choices. It was either manufacturing, truck driving, or military, or trying to go to a school. And the scholarships that was offered to me at that time, I didn't want to stay in the community. So I chose to go and join the Navy so I could travel the world, gain some experience, and see life outside of from the prism of what I grew up witnessing. I grew up in a background very similar to my brother here. Entrepreneurship is just in my spirit. Mm-hmm. Both my mother and father were both entrepreneurs as well as politicians. So I grew up learning the aspects of business, both the front of the house as well as the back of the house, right? On how to make sure the books was done as well as the product and the service to put out in front. It was just instilled in me to work hard for what you want, set your goals, and don't let anyone limit you. And I've always had that motto going forward. It was more so about, putting a plan down on paper, executing it, and moving forward. I've had my hand in a lot of businesses in over the past 25 years. I'll probably say 7. where it was, I did some investing for the most part. I like to say it was two industries I missed. I joke with Jared about this sometimes. Back in the days, I missed the beeper industry. I didn't get a chance to invest in. I was too busy trying to be one of the fly guys and B-boys on the street instead of thinking about the business of it. Because everybody had beepers. Some people had multiple beepers. You know, when I went up to the East Coast, my initial naval duty, I was up in the East Coast near UMart. I was in New Jersey. And at that time, everybody from in that tri-state area, New York, Jersey, Philadelphia, everybody had at least two beepers, right? So not till later, I didn't think about that was an opportunity for me to really capitalize on a market that was growing. The other one was the tanning business, right? Wasn't thinking, you know, how people wanted to, you know, go in, invest in tanning their bodies. It's always been about appearance for us, for just people, period. They want to look their best. They fear aging and all those things. So I really wasn't thinking about that again. Going into the 90s, it was more hip-hop. It was more partying and having fun. But yet and still, I always knew I wanted to be my own man. And the only way to do that was to be self-sufficient as opposed to working for someone for the rest of my life. Now, although I didn't want to do that, it's still not a bad option. You see what I'm saying? Because entrepreneurship is hard. It's challenging. Not for everybody. It's a commitment that you have to dedicate your life to. You know, it's not something that, you know, you mentioned in the at the initial call of the show that you see the flashy, the end results, you see the cars, you see the jewelry, the things that come along with it. But what you don't know is the late nights. You know, because I developed insomnia. I came from corporate America before I joined with Jared to start Respected Roots. I worked for CRA, which is a credit reporting agency, and I was one of the only African American males that ran a department. You know, there at that facility. Worked it for about a year and a half after I completed my master's. I have a master's in information systems management. So I'm considered somewhat as an enterprise architect. My master's is in IT as well as business analysis. So I understand the terminology that IT people speak and know how to translate that to the business world. And the business world, of course, that's my lane. I translate that to the IT. So that's a very rare, unique skill to have, right? Besides that, being raised in the church, athletic, travel the world extensively. I consider myself cultured. I consider myself also a Renaissance man, but at the same time, I grew up with very humble parents to make sure that I played an intricate part in the development of my community.
That's good, man.
Right. So that was my journey. I met my brother here. We've known each other at least 13 years, at least 12 years. At least 12 years by playing basketball. In passing, always had respect for him because you see he's a big man. Right. And I'm 6'2", he's 6'5". And to see a big man agile on his feet on the basketball court, I loved it. I wouldn't let him know. I
got to cut you off now. When Jerry walked in the gym, was he a first round draft pick or was he, hey man, we already got our 5 pick?
No, Jared, to be honest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To be honest with you, the gym I came into, the first time I met Jared, it was more so the gym he likes to play at, you know, more frequently than I do. Right? So
they knew what he could do.
But they knew me. Don't get me twisted. My name was on there. So when I walked in, I'm the OG with the gray hairs. They're like, yo, you know what it is. So meeting him, just watching how, you know, he carried himself, conducted himself at the gym. Because gym, you know, it's competitive spirit. So it could be very passionate in certain times and spaces of the game. You know what I'm saying? A foul is not always a foul when it's game time.
No doubt.
But I just always admired the young man for his maturity. Right? Where he's at, we're about 11, 12 years difference in the age. And just the way he carried himself and him being athletic, I would never let him know that I liked how he moved on the court. Because I'm like, look at big boy move. You know what I'm saying? I'll smile to myself, but I'm going to come at him every chance I got. And he would do the same thing. So that was just to us and some of our other team members, that's how we clicked. It was that competitive nature, but yet it stayed right there. You know what I'm saying? So, but it translated over to the business world. Because one of the things I like to say when playing basketball is it's indicative of how you live your life. Right? If you lie about a ball going out of bounds or lie about a foul, you'll cheat on anything, man.
That's good.
So if I see people like that in the gym, I smile and talk to you for a minute, but as far as it's gonna go.
Well, this is good stuff already, bro. Listen, we were talking about earlier about golf, and one of the reasons why I love the game of golf, because golf, unlike basketball, there are similarities and differences, but but basketball is a team sport. Golf is an individual sport, and you penalize yourself. Hey guys, my ball moved in the woods. I'm penalizing so golf to me is the ultimate test of character.
Yeah.
My last interview before the law firm coming out of law school decided to hire me was at the Partners Country Club. And he said that there were things that I did on the golf course that led in, and I was the first black that firm had ever hired. Right. And he said there were things that I did that day on the golf course that ultimately put me over the edge with other competitors for that associate's position, because I knew the etiquette.
Right.
And because he was judging and measuring my character.
Right.
So sports, as we've talked about before in pre-production, sports is a great way just to kind of evaluate and measure, who you might be working with.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's pretty much how we built, as entrepreneurs, the first thing you got to have is the vision.
Yeah.
The second thing you got to do is build a team, right? And you got to build a team that shares the same vision, share the same work ethics. For the most part, y'all all walking, line of step with each other. Jaret, it was funny how our story started. Jaret was on one side of town with a product that he was trying to figure out what to do with, right? And I'm on the other side of town wanting to start a chain of barbershops. I wanted to come to the Black Supercuts.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The first one.
Okay.
But I didn't know anything about manufacturing a product. So I was doing research like most people in the industry. I was researching private labeling and white labeling, which means there are manufacturers who use the same formulas in the industry, right? The personal care, hygiene, and beauty industry. They use the same formulas. They just put your marketing on it, put your brand on it, right? And it just didn't come off the right way to me. It wasn't authentic. But again, me not knowing how to, manufacture or create a formula, what was I to do?
Right.
And lo and behold, I'm on the other side of town one day hooping. And Jaret runs into me, and the story went basically like, hey, brother, after the game, after we played, OG, what do you put in your beard? And that conversation just sparked.
Wow.
I used the product, realized how great the product was, because I used to dye my beard. Okay. For about 3 or 4 months. Man, you know how that midlife thing may hit you. You in the gym and you rocking, and you see the guys in there with the black beards, and my grades started to come in. And so I thought the young ladies might be moving away from me. But so I started dyeing it a little bit.
Right.
And it made my hair more coarse. I could tell the difference in it. My curl pattern in my beard was different.
Okay.
And I stopped.
Yeah.
I got over the thing. It was more so an ego thing. I got over that. I'm like, the ego's gonna take me as it is, because
hey,
this is who I am.
Hey, bro, it's all good.
And I ain't had no complaints.
Hey, man, I hear you.
I used Bro's product. It brought back the natural feel that I had from my beard and my skin, right?
Nice.
Because I have naturally good skin from my family, but at the same time, our products that we have created has enhanced our appearance even more, right? Because your skin, we're melanated, it's supposed to have a natural glow to it.
Right.
So Jaret and myself, we linked up, we formed our partnership, we defined our roles, right? Our strengths and weaknesses, as we talked about previously. My background is business, marketing, from the beginning all the way to the finished product. That's what I do. Right. Jaret, on the other hand, he's the brilliant mind behind all our products. He formulates everything himself. Wow. And it was just amazing to not only be in this partnership with him, but learn how unique this brother was.
Wow.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. First, I want to hear your story, but I want you, as you talk about it, I want to hear this delineation of roles, because most people miss the fact that you can be amazing at your space, amazing at your space. There may be some crossover, but to really respect that line of, your genius. I'll give you an example. I normally talk about a goldfish on this table right here, out of the water, looks flimsy, looks out of place. You're like, what's the purpose? But that same goldfish in a jar of water, magic happens. Why? Because it's in its natural element. So talk about that natural element. And I also want to get to one part. You talk about your roles and this natural element. I noticed that even on your site and the videos you talk about, you're not co-owners, you're co-creators, right? And I think the world needs to hear, why'd you choose that naming convention of co-creator? And I kind of want to draw that out. What was that about?
So I'm gonna try to hit on all of that. You said a lot.
Okay.
Just initially, I always been a problem solver as a kid. I was the kid that took the VCR apart, but I'd actually put it back together. Before Pops got home and wanted to wear me out for tearing up the VCR. So real cantankerous, always was inquisitive, wanted to know how things work, and if it didn't work, how could I make it work better, right? So that was always me at the core. I guess backing up to, I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. And I always felt, just being raised there, always hearing about how good the times used to be, because I was born in '85.
Okay.
Right. So we all know, the economy of, or I guess the dichotomy of urban environments in the '80s. Right. And so that's how, I brought up and seeing all of the negative, but I used to always hear about how great it used to be, when the manufacturing jobs were there and the drugs weren't in the community and all of that kind of stuff. That being said, though, I had great mentorship with my grandfather. He owned his own construction business. He was very much so respected in his community. He owned real estate. He owned property. And he was an all-around just good guy. My mother, my mother is an accountant, so I got the analytical side in the household.
Nice.
The math, she was a stickler for making sure I, understood numbers, and I hated math. But I liked the math that painted a picture. I love geometry, right? Because I could see that picture of why I'm figuring that out.
That's good.
Right? So that's just always been me from an analytical perspective. So I started working at 14 years old. I'm sure my grandfather broke some child labor laws, right? He had me out there carrying shingles to the roof, cleaning up, sweeping.
Good stuff, man.
So I like to say that I learned work ethic at a young age. My father as well. I'm sure we all had to do chores on the weekend, right? I couldn't leave the house Saturday until I had the stairs swept and mopped and the bathroom cleaned and room and all of that. So I think sometimes that's lacking in our youth, because we do have a nonprofit and we talk to the youth often, and a lot of them don't have chores, man. Like, imagine that, being 14 and do whatever you want,
Sure.
But we know that builds character the same way sports builds character. Going back to what you were talking about of our roles, that's never been a problem for us. Because we found each other, because we had that gap, right? I knew I haven't spent an immense amount of time with sales and marketing, right? Up until that point, my whole life has been building, problem solving, like I say, construction, and I get into that a little bit more. My first business I ever had was right after I went to trade school for HVAC. So I didn't go to the traditional 4-year college route. I went to 4-year trade school, and it taught me heating, venting, air conditioning.
Okay.
Through that, the 4-year program paid me to go to school. I didn't have to, take out student loans. But it wasn't just, hey, this is how you swing a hammer. They mapped you through everything from digging in the dirt to planning for a job to managing your crew to sourcing materials to problem solving for reducing labor costs. How do you handle overtime? How are you going to handle, so all of those 4 years, maybe a year of it was spent actually talking about the equipment and machinery and the schematics. And that's something I pretty much shined at anyway. But I really appreciated that they were able to take me through that part of a business, because essentially they're teaching you how to run somebody else's business for them. One thing that always stuck out with me, what my grandfather taught me is, he said, grandson, as long as you work for somebody else, they can never pay you what you actually worth. He said, because if they did, they'd be out of business. If they paid everybody exactly what they were worth, you would get all of the value and they wouldn't have any. Right. So he said, he used to call it folding money, right? He said, grandson, you got some money? I said, yeah, I got some money. And I pull out quarters. That ain't no money, boy. Put some folding money in your pocket. A man's supposed to have folding money, right? That's good stuff. So he always carried an old school, man. Carried probably $3,000-$4,000 with him at all times, right? So he pulled off like, $10, $20, $30 or something. Yeah. And I just thought that was so cool as a kid, man. We got home and told my mom, I said, Granddad, all he do is ride around with a fat knot of money. And we collect money. Because she would ask me, I would stay with my grandparents for the summertime. Yeah. She said, well, what did y'all do today? Man, we just rode around and collect money. Right. I want to be like Granddad when I grow up. Yeah. She said, boy, Granddaddy ain't just riding around collecting money. I said, yeah, he just knocked on the door and people hand him money. So that's where I started to understand the power of taking ownership in property. Yeah. And not only did he just own it, he actually cared for the people. Okay. With him having his construction business, not only did he fix his own properties, but people in their neighborhood. He lived on the west side of Detroit, street called 30th. 30th and Buchanan is not that, if you're not from there, stay out of there. Okay. It's that kind of a neighborhood. Yeah. But the people in that neighborhood respected him so much because if he learned you had a leaky roof, he came by and fixed the roof. you somebody, you got a broken window, he come by, fix the window. No bill, no payment, which drove my grandmother crazy because she's going around doing all of this labor for free, and she served, as like his secretary and as his accountant, and she also worked for General Motors for like 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So at the end of the month, what did you spend $5,000 on? Oh, Sister Johnson, she had a hole in her roof, so we had to go buy plywood and blah blah blah. She said, so where's the $5,000?
Right.
You can't keep doing this. We call him Big T. You can't keep doing this, Big T. But that's the kind of person he was, and that's what really instilled in myself the importance of giving back to the community, because he always did that, either through, to tell you the truth, he never actually did it with money.
Okay.
Like, he gave me money because he's my grandson.
Right.
I was his grandson. But he did it through deeds. And he was very careful with how he spent his time.
Yeah.
Right? So he would do, for every year for his birthday, he'd have a barbecue, right? But it was for the whole neighborhood,
Wow.
right? And it wasn't just hot hamburgers and hot dogs. He went and bought steaks and lobsters and probably things that the majority of those people, wouldn't have a chance to have.
Yeah.
So that's something that me and bro has got in common a lot, just when me and him talking through each other.
Yeah.
Like he said, he was on, he's born and raised in Tennessee. I'm in Detroit, Michigan, but it's amazing how many similarities that we had in common.
Man, you all have said so much, Mark. Literally, man, it's
you gotta unpack it.
Yeah, we got to unpack it, because there are a couple of common themes that I heard, and I wish we could probably spend an hour on each of them. One was learning a work ethic at an early age. I think a lot of youth, a lot of people in general, have missed that. I think we're growing up in an entitlement era where, for whatever reason, people feel entitled, like the world owes them something. Man, my folks told me, the world don't owe you. Let me say this is PG. The world don't owe you nothing.
Right.
They don't owe you nothing. You got to go out there and get it. And so I have a chapter in this book I wrote called "Slave for a Day."
Okay.
Because I grew up in South Georgia. And my dad's a preacher, and we're going to get to the spiritual aspect. And Brother Crawford owned these fields. And long story short, I thought I was big enough because my brother Randall Godfrey, he was already working in the fields. He was making a whopping $25 a day. And I wasn't. I was cleaning fish for $2 an hour. I'm like, I need the big money. So I'm gonna go work in it. Now I'm not a big guy. Now don't let those smooth things. I'm toned now for those of you in the listening audience, right? But these are big guys. So, but I had a slight build, at 16 years old, and so I went in that field for it, and it was the longest day of my life. And what I took away from that, one, was that was temporary for me, but there were people who were raising their kids working in the fields. That was what they did there were no hours, sun up to sundown. But my point is if I wanted extra money, I had to do extra. I cut grass, I cleaned fish, I painted signs, I did whatever. I was just hustling. But now today, Mark, your story is the same. We now have that same energy and drive as professionals, but it was instilled in us at an early age. And then the two different paths that you all took. Everybody doesn't have to go to college. Man, these guys have an amazingly successful business. One person went the collegiate route, the other person went to trade school. And so for those of you who feel a certain kind of way about college, listen, find your lane. It's not, listen, it's like a butter knife, right? This knife can be used for a number of different things. It's just a tool. You have to make the decision on how you use it. Education is just a tool. My son was blessed to go to Georgetown. I told Brandon when he went to Georgetown, I said, Brandon, there are people who went to Georgetown who are homeless now, and there are people who went to Georgetown who are billionaires. Same education, just what did you do differently with it, right? So let's talk about a little bit. I don't shy away from the spiritual laws of success. I just don't. Yeah, I tell when we speak, I'm like, listen, if y'all have a problem with that, I'm a preacher's kid. Scriptures come to me like raps do to Jay-Z. I don't apologize for that, but I can never ever take credit for what God has blessed me with without acknowledging the principles upon which our success was built. So talk about the spiritual aspect of what has contributed to your success.
Sure. Well, my mom was the state chair lady. I grew up COGIC, which is acronyms for Church of God in Christ, right?
I grew up Church of Christ.
Church of Christ, right. So Jaret raised similar to me in our households. Steve Harvey made a joke on the Kings of Comedy about him going to church all the time, right? I literally did that.
That's right.
My mom was the state chair lady of the YPWW of the Church of God in Christ in the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
So they used to consider me as the baby of the Youth Congress. I was always traveling.
Yeah.
5 years old, 6 years old, she had me competing in Kings and Queen competition where I was singing and all those things.
Okay.
So just to fast forward, we've carried that with us in our philanthropic efforts and our giving back to the community with our time, our commitment to our young men. And before we do, when we used to travel, as we was building our brand, we would attend all of these beauty expos. And like Bronner Brothers and such shows, Telia Wajid, some of these shows. And before we started every show, before we traveled, before we got on the road, we would always start with a prayer.
Yeah.
And we don't believe in you pray and then you got to keep praying and you got to keep praying. You give it to God and let him have it. And we put forth the work. So we let him guide us in everything we do. And all of us, Jaret and myself, we're the co-creators, but we also have a strong team with us. But each person that's a part of our team and our family is through divine intervention.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like people that we haven't known 10, 15 years are now like people we've known for 20 years. Because we all share the same common goal. Help the economy, help the people, make business happen.
Wow.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And we all are family oriented. So
That's good.
The roles, as we talked about before, and role defined, Jaret, his strength is in trade.
Okay.
Right? So I defer to him. When we talk about when he's doing product creation, my job is to create revenue channels.
Okay.
And the vision of the company. So I come to him and I'm like, bro, we want to talk about formulating products for the ladies, or we're in the barbershops because we're constantly there. The guys are telling us what customers are asking for. He'll hear it or I mention it to him, and he has his process. I may not hear from him in a week about what he's doing as far as with a product. We talk daily, 3 or 4 times a day. But he won't share with me all the time. I'm starting a product. He'll just pop up at the house. Bro, you at the house? Yeah. He'll come up with a new product. I want you to try this. Yeah. And he knows how my response is back to him. If it's a hit, bro, that's a classic. If not, let's go back. You know what I'm saying? And it could be something small as a fragrance, but our relationship works because you was talking about the labor and equity, right? Initially in a business relationship. We don't call each other and find out what you're doing for the day, or we don't have to. That's right. Because our roles it's just 2 of us. Okay. Right? And the business I create the demand. He has to create the supply. Yeah. To satisfy that demand. So he can't be slacking and I'm working, or he's making product. I got to be able to get that product off that shelf. We don't want product sitting on our shelf. So and thank God we don't. Yeah. But that's how our partnership worked. What he knows and I did not know, he would teach me. So I now know how to formulate products. Okay. I know how to do the manufacturing. And the same with business. Everything that I would do, every conversation, I make sure he's on the call. Yeah. And even if he did not understand everything that was going on, after that call, we'll break down everything that happened. So he understands, because if something happens to me, I want the business to keep going. If something happens to him, we want the business to keep going. We've put in all of our equity, labor, finances, everything is on us. Yeah. So our drive, our commitment to our business, our commitment to our cause is through passion. It's original, and I think and we appreciate everybody who supports us, all of our supporters online, as well as the people who purchase our products every day, who support our nonprofits. We couldn't have done any of this without them. Yeah. And we know it, and that's why we go so hard, man, to paint, to make sure that we're A1. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, going back respectfully, Big T, right? Shout out to Granddad,
Booker
right?
T, yeah.
I love it. You talked about him going back into the community and giving, and the spiritual aspect. We don't shy away from that. What I'm hearing is, okay, grandmother was saying, hey, where's the money? That's the treasure. Then it was the time he spent. But the part that was intangible, most people miss, is he gave his talents. So talk about, because you guys have, an outreach. You have this benevolent thing that you do, right? You give back your service to many, many people. Let's talk about you giving back. And we heard, obviously, that you do it, but what pushes you, now that you become these successful individuals, what pushes you, says, you know what, I'm still going to do it? My interpretation is that's who you are. But what is inside you says, no matter what's going on, all the hours I'm putting in with my business, my products, no matter how successful we become, I'm still going to give back. What makes you keep doing it?
Sure, I think it's because we don't know how to not do that. That's how we were raised. You know, if that's how you were raised, it would be easier to say, well, how can you do that? You know, why are you not doing that, or why aren't you doing the opposite? You know, so if I'm raised with that kind of example, not just from my grandfather, but from you asked about the spiritual background. Both my mother and grandmother, choir directors. We went to church. Sunday school, right?
Yes, sir, brother.
We went
Yes,
from
sir.
8 to 4:30 if we were lucky. Right, we went to church, and then we had Wednesday night Bible
Wednesday night
study.
Bible class, yes, sir.
And then you had Friday night choir rehearsal.
Yeah.
So if I was lucky, I went to church 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it unlucky, but as a kid, I felt unlucky if I had to go to church 4 or 5 days a week, right? But we just don't know how to not do that. One of the first things he and I did, and this is Bro's idea, he had been going down to there used to be a mission here in Atlanta. They've moved it now. Was that Cortlandt Street? Yeah. But we went down there and we just gathered up anything that we had around our house with new tags on it, gently used, clothing and articles of clothing. We went down and brought sandwiches for the homeless and stuff down there. One of the first things we ever did, as a group, as a company, outside of doing things individually, and it was a no-brainer. He said, "Hey, man, I'm thinking about going down, and giving away some clothes and stuff like that." And I said, "Man, that's great." And then just with us talking, the idea just got bigger, and we didn't, publicize it or to make a big stink about it.
Yeah.
But it was a no-brainer to just be involved in something like that. So I guess to answer your question, man, that's something that has always been taught to me. I know it's been taught to my brother, and we don't know how to do anything other than that. I will add this as well. If I give people this example, we all know what it's like to get something new, whether it's a new pair of shoes, a new car, a new shirt, that toy, that you've been asking for, and it quickly fades, right? You get a new car, you wash it once, twice, 3 times a week. Time goes by, you wash it less, right? I don't feel like that feeling doesn't go away when you do a good deed for somebody.
Yeah.
I can remember giving cousins or, nephews a gift, right? I can recall on that right now and feel just as good right now as if, I just gave them that gift or that present or the time, one of the first business I started doing for myself out of Detroit, I started doing like a home repair business, but based around heating and cooling. So it gets very cold in Detroit. Most people have gas furnaces, and it can be a matter of life and death. Your furnace goes out and it's 10 degrees outside or negative degrees outside. They want you out there, fixing things. And so I came across people that didn't have money. I get out there and they would go about it the wrong way. Let you fix it. How much is it? Well, it's going to be $120. Oh, right. Now that,
shout out to the late Bill.
Right. Now, of course, that made you upset.
Sure.
But I just chalk that up. What they call chalk it up to the game, man. It's just what it is. What it is. Yeah. Call that my good deed. As opposed to getting irate or taking somebody to court or something like that. I get it back at some point.
It's amazing, man, the feeling that you get by giving. I'm not really a gift person. When something good happens to me, I feel great going and buying something for somebody else and giving it to them. And that makes me feel better because, where we are with our careers is almost you really can't buy us per se, but I love making other people feel good. And like you said, that feeling it stays with you much longer than something that maybe was given to you, and I think that's expected of us, and the most successful people that I know, even when you look at billionaires today, it's become almost like who can outgive the other person. Yes. Billionaires today are making pledges to give away a bulk of their wealth upon their death. There are billionaires now who are saying, I'm going to pledge 90% of my wealth once I die, it's going to go to charity. It's not going to my kids. It's not going to family. It's going to a benevolent cause, right? Because they understand, wealthy people understand the impact, the spiritual principle of giving. The little bit that you give, man, so much more is going to come back to you in return, right? So Yeah, go ahead.
No, I
Jason.
was just going to add on to what you're saying, but also not just the giving, the time. That's what's more important.
Yeah.
When you got to access, abundance of money, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
But you spending a couple of hours with young men who are fatherless,
Yeah.
or if they do have their fathers, a lot of our kids, they have fathers in their lives, but in our culture,
Yeah.
we can speak on 18 years old, you was out the house, bro.
Yeah, man.
It was your choice of school, work, military, and a lot of us went out of our parents' home without any skill,
Yeah.
life skills.
Yes.
We didn't know how to budget. We didn't know we didn't understand the difference between renting and versus owning.
We knew how to hoop.
We knew how to hoop. We knew how to do basic stuff like that. We knew how to hustle, as we
know how
said.
to hustle,
Yes,
right.
But we didn't really understand
The life game.
right. And so that's more important to me.
Yeah.
And we'll speak for Jared, but we walk right alongside with me, so I know it is for him. It's more so us being engaged.
Yeah.
Engaged. And so when you meet us, we talked off camera earlier about our personalities,
Right.
right? We understand we're big guys. We understand we're also dark guys. So when we meet people initially, a lot of times in our life, especially me being in the corporate world, I had to be, I had to stand 3 or 4 feet back,
Right.
smile a little bit, and make people feel comfortable, right? And I just got tired of playing that role. So when I talk to my young kids, man, you dap up, you whatever it is, and those kids, they anticipate us coming.
Yeah.
Because we're not just giving money.
Yeah.
We're actually there and we're talking to you, bro. And if it's anything from relationships to budgeting to issues that may be going on in the family, they got somebody that they know that's going to be there, not just a one-off.
Right.
Because while we do what we do, it's because we care and we actually want to make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah.
Right. We're not the first, but this is how Jared and myself choose to run our race. This is how we grab the baton and we're running our relay, right? So we want to make sure that these young men are leaving school with a general understanding of how to start their life, how to budget, what emergency funds are, these things to make you a pillar in your community, a better husband, a better brother, better son, boyfriend, what have you. You see what I'm saying? But our women, our communities look up to us as men,
Right.
Because we are still the backbone of our communities.
Sure.
And we as a group need to have more insight on the day-to-day of how to make it.
That was one of the things that impressed me, even with your program. You have the Brotherhood Initiative, and you're really big, Mark. They're extremely big into mentorship. We built a whole business around. We have a company called Worthy of Millions, and it's about mentorship. And going back to our community at an early age, I didn't honestly learn about good credit until I was in my late 20s. By that time, my credit was already shot because I now I knew Peter, Paul, James, John. I knew 1st, 2nd Corinthians. I knew I knew the book.
Right.
I didn't know nothing. I didn't know about the credit. Yeah. And so when I heard about you all, I knew about that 10%. But in terms of the strategies of how to leverage good credit, and as a college student, I was the poster child for a victim. Those new credit card companies came to me and I got $1,000. I would go and buy CDs, and I'm dating myself. But I go buy cassettes and Walkman with the latest headphones.
You ain't got an 8-track.
Oh, no, I ain't that 8-track. That's Mark.
Shout out to Columbia House.
Columbia House. Dude, get 30 cassettes for a penny.
Man, I stole the other 99 cents.
I want to add this part too about the mentorship because I think it's a lot more important than our culture understands.
Yeah.
People get upset about how much worse the next generation is. These kids today, these kids today, these kids today. Well, one major thing that's lacking, particularly in ethnic communities, is mentorship. If you're not mentoring, how can you complain about the people who come behind you?
Yeah.
How can it get better if you have the information and we're not passing it on? Right. So it's not okay to just blame, the next generation. They have problems that we don't know anything about really. It's not okay to tell them, "I'll just put your cell phone down." There are kids that don't know what it's like to not have this device.
They sure don't.
And to tell you the truth, there will never be another time in the history of man where we don't have them.
That's right.
So you best to learn how to use them.
Yeah.
Right.
Productively.
Yes. They cause problems. We have to. One of the subjects that we teach in our mentorship program in our curriculum is conflict resolution. Now we could say that as simple as, "Oh, somebody bumped you. Oh, excuse me, how you doing? Sorry," or But what about a conflict that's digital? Right? Somebody, you got into a fight, you lost the fight, and it don't go away because the whole school was recording it. You got people, I can't go back to that school.
Yeah.
Now, what does that do to your psyche?
That's
what
big.
is, how do you deal with, those kind of things? So we have to come up with new solutions to old school problems that are now amplified because we have these devices. So it's, I know I started, with the mentorship. Yeah, it's very important. Other communities have it. Jews are great with it.
Yeah.
They have whole community centers, and that's all that they do from the age of 5 and 6.
And it's been generational. This wasn't a one-off. I mean, it's been passed on generation to generation to generation, right? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So now let's kind of I really want to highlight, this respected roots in these products, right? Yes. First of all, for those of you in the listening audience, you can't see this visual. I am holding a canister of this body butter. Let me tell you something, man, Mark. Y'all can hear me opening this, right? And when you open it, the fragrance. I'm a body butter guy, and you again, if you're listening, obviously, if you're on YouTube, you can see these brothers have y'all's skin is amazing, absolutely amazing. So the products really work. But let me tell you, this body butter, Mark, how would you describe this scent?
Mine. No, I got to say, guys, honestly, when I open it up, I mean, I love my lotions. I use different kinds of body butters as well. This scent alone it's rich.
Winner.
If you think about it, if this is almost like I'll give you an example. I was in Dubai about a month ago, right? And went to the hotel next door to us called the Address Sky.
Okay. And
every floor had a scent that came off, and they were all scents of Hermes. So they literally pumped in $100 an ounce fragrances into the air, and you felt rich walking in the hallway. You felt different. I've never experienced that before from the scent, and I had that same experience when I smelled this right here. This makes you want to take it home and
eat it.
No,
it smells delicious.
This makes me want to call ahead and prepare my wife.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to put this butter on.
Talk to him, Mark. Talk to him, bro.
Yeah, man. Hey, watch this, ladies. If you're listening right now, just hit the mute button. But this right now,
can't get ready tonight. Can't get ready.
We're not making any. There's no affiliate commission on this. I'm letting you know right now that if you will enter the room before. People want to know who you are and what's going on before you get to the room, because this right here has that level of richness about it, and I can't wait to let my wife experience it.
Yeah, you've been holding that too long. Look, this for me represents this might as well be called get a date cream, because this gonna get me one. Yes. I think I might have a dinner in the future coming from this. No, seriously, guys, the people who know. I have a very sensitive sense of smell, right? And there are certain scents that really, make me sick to my stomach, right? I opened this, and before I even felt the texture, the scent hit me.
Yes.
And then when I felt it, it's a very light texture. And one of the things I love about body butter in general, for particular skin it puts this glow on you, right? And so talk a little bit about the formulation of the body butter, what it was you're trying to accomplish. Is it just for men or women? But this is the body butter. Now you have a whole suite of products here, and we're going to talk about those, but this is a winner, right? So let's talk about, just the formulation and what all goes. And let me say this too. I'm also big into branding. I'm like you. I'm really sensitive about marketing. This is top shelf branding. Your logo, your icon, the way you market and your websites, your branding is top shelf. This looks like something that should be, at complimenting Hermes or something that complements one of those high-end shops in Dubai. This would go anywhere. So let's talk about, the formulation of the body butter, the other products, and what makes your product so unique.
So first, I can't give you all the secrets, man. The formulation, though, I should point out that the product is natural.
Okay.
So first off, on the formulation, I wanted something that I could feel good about putting on my skin. Not to too much go into a sales pitch, but a lot of products on the market have chemicals in there that are not supposed to be on the skin. That's why sometimes you use a body butter, you just move it around and move it around and move it around, and you end up wiping it on something because it's not absorbing. Right?
Okay.
So that product, it absorbs into the skin, and the premium ingredients, all natural ingredients aren't created equal. So just because I have a shea butter A and shea butter B don't mean that they came from areas that they're comparable. So that really makes a difference with having those high-end natural ingredients in there. The scent, the fragrance is something that we both take a lot of pride. We hear that often, so thank you guys for the kind words about the fragrance. It's for men and for women. It's for the whole family, kids as well. Even for people that have sensitive skin, we have a sensitive skin version.
Nice.
So it doesn't have the fragrance in there, but it still has the lavish effect on the skin. And we love the branding, man. That's my brother Jason, the branding and the marketing. Likewise, hey, what do you think about this idea?
Yeah.
And all of it is dope. We just can't do it all.
Right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
So one of my favorite things that we do is collectively come together with ideas and, yes, no, and put a product that the majority of people overwhelmingly say, we love it.
Let's answer this question, because there may be people out there who may be unfamiliar with body butter. What's the difference between body butter and lotion?
Well, to keep it simple, lotions are typically composed of like 85% water. They're water-based products, right, with minimal ingredients. Skin is melanated. It's going to just soak up that water. So you're not really getting the other ingredients that's inside of that, or nutrients, right? So your skin is left dry, flaky. The difference between body butter, the shea that we use inside of it has natural amino acids, fatty acids that are great benefactors for the skin, helps with the elasticity of the skin. The tea tree oil that we put inside of it kills bacteria down to the second layer of your topical bacteria down to the second layer of your skin. So we like healthy alternatives. We like to yield products that's not going to only serve the purpose of skincare, but also the tea tree oil is killing that bacteria. So especially in the time that we're in right now, right? At our stores that we have throughout the states, that's one of our big things. We've always been taking precautionary measures, wearing gloves and things before the mask was all in place, because it's just that extra touch. It's that professionalism that we like to give to our customers, because our customers deserve it.
Sure.
It's so many products out there. There's thousands, millions of cosmetic products, but it's only one respected roots.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and it's only Jaret and I.
Okay.
And the way in our team, the way we push everything, we want to make sure it doesn't go out unless it's top. Like quality control, we make sure that the product is delivered at its highest. We follow up with our customer service. If you order online or something like that, you'll get a call from our team. So if any of you have ordered from us before, you can attest to that. Our team is going to follow up. Do you know how to use the product? Because although we have tutorials and information on the back of it, some people just like to talk to the people who created it. Am I doing this right? Because as men, we are very unfamiliar with self-care products.
Yeah, sure.
That's not how we were raised. Our moms and Big Mom gave us Vaseline.
Yeah.
Or like a cocoa butter and told us going outside and play.
Right.
Our sisters, they learned about exfoliants and hair techniques and how to make sure their skin is good. But more men are now more conscious about what they ingest into their body and what they put onto their skin. The product is unisex, which is it's a great beneficiary for the family, because you now, not just with the face and the body appearance, but a lot of us, our hands and our feet. We work a lot. You know what I'm saying? And some of us, you've seen tough heels, man, dry heels, tough hands.
Lord. Yeah.
And you need a product that's going to actually penetrate and do what it's supposed to do. So that's the I would say the biggest difference between a lotion and a body butter.
Okay, so now let's talk about the other suite of products, right, that you have. You all have more than just the body butter, but that was the one that just really jumped out. Talk about maybe your top sellers or just the entire array that people can benefit from.
Sure. Respect the Roots is a premium collection of grooming products, right, for personal care. The body butter that we're talking about is our flagship. Okay. I say our next two top sellers is our facial co-wash. I know it's behind us, but it's a foaming co-wash. It's plant-based, curated with a little olive oil to put the oil back into your skin. Okay. Whenever you use a soap, soaps pull out and dry out the skin from the natural oils that the body produces, right? Okay. From the hair and the skin. And so we infuse our formulas with, again, ingredients that's going to actually work. The root is the name of hence the name Respect the Roots. We get to the root of the issue, which is the skin. Our beard conditioners, which is next. A lot of guys are wearing beards or facial hair, which has now been accepted in corporate America. So now it's everywhere, right? Sure. but we didn't know how to take care of it. It goes back to what I was saying before about the being uninformed. So our products curated with cocoa butter, shea butter, tea tree oil, apricot, grapeseed, those type of things, where it's going to work on the skin, focus on that, and also change the texture of the hair.
Okay.
Right? So it gives us more manageable, less breakage, less dandruff, beard drift, as we like to call it. Our hair moisturizer. Our hair moisturizer is another top seller. We infuse jojoba oil inside. And that's Joba, jojoba. We infuse that because it's a great moisturizer for the scalp and the hair. And it doesn't require a lot of usage, like the greases and a lot of things that they've given us in the past that suppresses hair growth as opposed to promoting it.
Wow.
Right? The grease just clogs the pores.
Wow.
This is all natural. It gets down to the skin, helps with the exfoliation with some of our products, and also promotes growth. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
Man, this is good stuff, man. Listen, guys. Again, I'm thrilled because it's good to see other people who look like us having success and mentorship and giving young men and young women an opportunity to see success of groups of individuals doing something other than rapping, shooting a basketball, catching a football. Because for the longest, society only thought that's what we were good at. Just something that could entertain people. Right. But we want young folks in particular to know that there are other ways to become successful in life besides sports. Now, we're not knocking sports, and we appreciate sports. We still, in some ways, play sports. So we're fans of sports. But understand that's not the only path now to success, and we have two excellent examples of that. Talk to us about the future. Now, as we wrap up, what's on the horizon? What are some of the big term, short term, long term goals, for not only Respected Roots but the Brotherhood Initiative? Where do you want to see it grow? Is this going? Is a vision international growth? Talk to us about the scale of what's going to happen and what you're envisioning.
So I like to talk. Maybe if we split it on the Brotherhood Initiative.
Okay.
Very excited about what we've been able to do so far. Especially with this, COVID going on, we haven't been able to be in the schools as much as we'd like. I'm very anxious to get back in there, get an update on our students. I'm sure you heard me give a quick speech at the end of our golf event, and I need an update on my kids, man, on my boys. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they're doing okay. And I want to blow that Brotherhood Initiative out of the water. Yeah. We unrolled our curriculum, which was originally a 6-week curriculum. They asked us to expand it another 2 weeks, and we did.
Awesome.
And we started in one high school, and we want to take that curriculum, that model, and put it in various schools, not just around the city of Atlanta, but around the country. And eventually have our own academy, our own mentorship center, dedicated exclusively to it doesn't have to just be a business school. They have interests of everything, but dedicated to mentoring our youth. So I really want to see that grow and be the more kids that we could affect and talk to, the better. And I want to have an international, or at least a national, we'll start there, program where we mentor our youth.
I love it.
Awesome. As we talk about the future, one thing I don't want to miss is when you guys got started, did you have it only online? How was your distribution model started? And tell us about where you are today with it. I think our viewers want to hear about that as well.
Yeah, of course. We started our business back in 2015, and we started as an e-commerce platform only. Right? It's less overhead. You're able to reach more people, and now we have evolved to 10 physical locations as well as expanding our e-commerce platform.
Nice.
We opened 10 store locations amidst COVID. Started in February last year, and we opened our 10th back in July there in Tampa, Florida.
Nice, congratulations, man!
Thank you,
absolutely,
thank you. And it was, again, as I mentioned before, it's to the public, our supporters. We can have all the drive we want, but if people don't see it or receive it as a viable business, then we're just dreaming, right? So the hard work, traveling, making sure that every store is open and routine. Giving the products, giving the customers what they want as far as customer service, giving them that extra. It was all fun. We love that. We love engaging with it. No matter how successful we become, how much more, some may say, we still always be out there on the floor.
Yeah.
Nice. That's how we started.
You saw us laugh because you hit a buzzword for Mark and I. You said customer
Shout out
service.
to customer service.
Right. We did a podcast on bad customer service, man, and how few business owners really understand the significance of good customer service and how customer service can actually be a revenue stream if you treat it and give it the attention that it deserves. So when you said things like, man, look, when people make a purchase, you know, one of our staff, they call and they follow up to make sure you know how to use the product or you're having a good experience with the product. It's those little things, those little because the natural product space, the hair care and the grooming, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Right. You identified it earlier. There's a lot of competition in that space. So now it's Jeff Olson's slight edge principle. The little things that you can do to distinguish yourself from the competition may make all the difference in the world. Yeah. Right. And it could be just that phone, that one investment in a phone call, following up with somebody who made an online purchase could mean, because this is a residual business. Right. Once I use this body butter and I run out, I want to buy it over and over. No. When I get halfway done, I'm going to reorder, so I'm never out of it. You understand what I'm saying? So if you can do that one little thing, that drives your revenue for years to come. Right?
What's the best product that they sell at Chick-fil-A?
Customer service.
Customer service.
That's what they known for.
Right. That's what they known for.
My pleasure. That's their phrase. My pleasure. Right. Not you're welcome, not good day. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely.
And you wonder why Chick-fil-A does more revenue than any other franchise, and they're only open 6 days out of the week.
And they give you an extra day to work, and you still can't beat them. They give you an extra 24 hours, and you still can't beat them because they said, listen, what's better than our chicken sandwich is our customer service.
All day long.
You can study that model all day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just been a blessing, man, having you guys. I'm glad that Providence, led me to the golf tournament, which, by the way, I didn't want to leave the platform. I don't think I would be doing these brothers justice to this topic if I didn't. They also announced that my squad won first place in the tournament. The trophy is in my office. So thank y'all very much, right? But no, it was an amazing event. I'm glad that we met. You all have an amazing platform. You all are authentic. Your products really work. Hey, before we leave, let's talk about how can people find you?
Yes.
Instagram handles, websites. Understand you all are getting ready to start your own podcast starting in 2022. How can people find you, patronize your business online, buy these products?
Of course. Thank you so much for that. Everything is Respected Roots. Our website is respectedroots.com. The Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything. We're actually about to start a new page on what's the new TikTok. Right. TikTok. So we're trying to stay culturally involved with the branding of the different generations, trying to bridge that gap. But everything is Respected Roots.
You got it.
And so
it'll be right here on the screen, guys. Respectedroots.com, Respected Roots on Instagram. We put it right there on the screen.
Absolutely. And our Brotherhood Initiative, if you would like to donate, we will definitely appreciate it. All proceeds go to our programming for our young men. And it is rrbrotherhoodinitiative.org.
That's it, guys. We want to thank Jason Hawkins, Jaret Patterson, co-creators of Respected Roots. Guys, like I always like to say, guys, we hope that someday you too will become the embodiment of success, making you ultimately become worthy of millions. And my partner, take us out.
Guys, never dream small dreams, because what? Small dreams don't have magic. God bless. Take care. And we'll see you all over the world.
Take care, guys.